Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We have everything you need to know today on AMC stock so far. AMC is up 1.03%, trading at $4.41 per share. And this interesting article came out as well. It says AMC-linked Hycroft mining faces illicit short-selling manipulation, worries the CEO warns. Now, this Hycroft mining, AMC has a significant stake in it. Now, it seems like anything that has to do with AMC has this degree of illegal short selling. And I think what they say, you could draw some conclusions out of it, possibly. We'll talk about it here in this video. Now, on top of that, we're going to get into the cost to borrow fees, which are still 1,000%. We're going to look at the short interest, all of that, see if anything changed from yesterday's trading numbers. As well as that, we're going to talk about the data that came out for the broader markets, including retail sales and exactly what's going on here on the day today. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section if you have not done so already. So let's start with this article. It says AMC-linked Hycroft mining faces illicit short seller manipulation. And this is coming from Hycroft CEO. It says Hycroft mining worried about trade imbalances. Gold and silver mining, Hycroft mining, gold and silver miner Hycroft mining has announced that it has been working with Share Intel, a market surveillance firm, for several months to protect its shareholders from illegal short selling activities such as naked short selling. And Hycroft mining announced on Twitter, it says today Hycroft mining announced that it has been working with Share Intel to review trading of the company's stock. Share Intel's analysis identified trade imbalances in trading of Hycroft shares, which may indicate illegal trading activity. They actually published the report. So Share Intel uses a software as a service platform that provides public companies access to shareholder position movement and settlement data. According to the company, trade imbalances in the trading of Hycroft shares were identified. This, in turn, could indicate illegal trading activity. Hycroft Mining CEO Diane Garrett took to social media to share the red flags raised by Share Intel and said that illegal activity would not go unpunished. And it goes on to say, as of the end of the trading session on July 14th, shares of Hycroft were trading at just 43 cents a share. Shares are down nearly 60% over the last 12 months. It's not just Garrett sounding the alarm. The practice of naked short selling has been a hot topic in the retail trading and investing world over the past several years. Naked short selling involves borrowing, selling shares. Short selling shares that have not been appropriately borrowed beforehand. Some small cap companies whose share prices have been adversely affected by short selling have campaigned against naked shorting and sought relief from regulators. The CEO of Singapore-based Genius, for instance, hired a former FBI director to investigate alleged illegal trading in the company's stock. Another smaller company, said that it would partner with ShareTel to protect its shareholders from naked short selling. Electrical vehicle startup Mullen Automotive also announced that it was launching an investigation into possible market manipulation practices due to naked short selling putting pressure on its shares. It says AMC is caught in the middle. In March of 2022, movie theater chain AMC made an unorthodox, to say the least, acquisition for a movie theater chain when it invested in gold and silver mine Hycroft Mining. That move was intended to increase AMC's long-term profitability. Wall Street was highly skeptical of the deal, as AMC's management was making a sizable investment in a company well outside its area of expertise. However, AMC saw an excellent opportunity to raise capital. This mining company was experiencing liquidity problems similar to what AMC had suffered from during the pandemic and was being priced at a bankrupt valuation. AMC's return on its unusual investment came faster than expected. Only 9 trading days after the acquisition announced, Hycroft raised $139 million by selling new shares. Not bad for a company whose market cap had been hovering at the $19 million mark. Currently, Hycroft Mining has a market cap of about $94.5 million. Hycroft Mining's management alleges allegations of possible illegal short selling practices have resonated with many of AMC's loyal retail investors, known as apes. Since AMC Entertainment stock was taken over by meme mania, leading to a series of massive short squeezes, retail investors have owned most of AMC shares, according to CEO Adam Aron. When excluding index funds, at one point, retail investors owned more than 90% of AMC's flow. AMC's meme investor fan base on Reddit has hypothesized that short sellers are covering their short positions with instruments such as synthetic shares. While synthetic shares and naked short selling are distinct concepts, they share a common element of creating an artificial market representation of supply and demand. Many times throughout AMC's meme stock journey, the combination of low availability of shares for lending and very high cost to borrow fees would have made it unfeasible for short sellers to cover their short positions. Even recently, AMC's borrow fees have reached nearly the 1,000% mark. That's absurdly high level that demonstrates both the demand to short AMC shares and the relative scarcity of borrowable shares. Another indicator watched closely by AMC traders, retail investors, and shareholders is the failure to deliver data, which also may be correlated with naked short selling. Last month, AMC's failure to deliver numbers were at their highest in 2 years. That latest June data showed FTDs of 15 million daily for at least 4 consecutive trading sessions. And in May of this year, AMC asked the New York Stock Exchange and FINRA to look closely at possible irregularities in AMC stock trading. The company, however, as of yet, has not been able to officially substantiate allegations of naked short selling. Many AMC shareholders were already paying close attention to Hycroft mining. Now, with naked short selling allegations thrown into the mix, that attention should only be heightened. And I mean, it seems like anything that has to do with retail or anything that has to do with AMC specifically, you get these kind of things that show up, right? The naked shorts, the synthetics, the different kind of illegal strategies that funds are using with AMC. It comes up over and over again. I really am hard pressed to think that the SEC and FINRA and these other agencies don't know this stuff is happening. Like, how clueless could they possibly be? I guess there is a lot of stocks out there in the markets, sure, but come on now. That's actually insane. Now, in regards to any potential naked shorting we've seen in the past, usually when that starts to get talked about, you tend to see a rally shortly thereafter. At least that's what we've seen in the past for AMC, right? And you could just, look at the chart. You could directly correlate even Google Trends data with AMC naked shorting, and pretty well align with these peaks that we have seen in AMC stock. So I don't think it's any coincidence. It's obviously impossible to draw any conclusions, but I think it's a very compelling argument, to say the least, that Hycroft Mining, would they be seeing this illegal shorting activity if it wasn't for AMC's investment in them? I don't know. Probably not. But hey, what do we know? We're only retail investors. Now, if we take a look at what the data currently looks like for AMC stock, you have $632.5 million worth of short positions on AMC stock. Estimated short interest of free float at 28.03%, days to cover at 10.4, cost to borrow fees 269.2%, and 83.44% utilization. Now, this utilization number has fallen from 100%. It was at 100% for like 18 months, and it's fallen recently. Now, I would argue that probably has to do with Ape being picked up by Ortex as AMC, because they are technically the same company, just two different kind of stocks, right? And Ortex is probably picking up on that and saying, hey, there's more shares available. Can't blame Ortex, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the utilization is actually at 83.44%. We've continued to see cost of borrow fees in that 1,000% range, so it looks like there's not a lot of shares that are available to be lent out nonetheless. Now, the short score is sitting at 96. This is because you are the most squeezable now than you have ever seen for AMC stock. It has to do with the days to cover being over 10. It has to do with the estimated short interest of free float at 28%, right? These things have big impacts on a potential short squeeze. Now, also the option activity has been very negative. Now, usually negative option activity is not a good thing, right? If you're especially trading at high levels, like we were in June or even January, that spike in puts, it's not necessarily a good thing. But when you've spiked in puts and you've been spiked in the puts since February of 2023, and these short sellers have been playing this very specific trade, basically betting and waiting for this to happen, when everyone is this negative, when you're over twice as negative measured by the put to call ratio than funds were when AMC rallied, over 1,000% in June, that doesn't make sense. AMC is going to be raising capital, right? And this is going to be a positive event. So everyone is so negative. This is actually a positive event. Cost to borrow fees 1,000% or more. This is a big problem for the hedge funds and institutions when all things are considered. So when I add these things up logically, cost to borrow fees being where they are, everyone being so negative, this catalyst, which is actually a positive, I come to the stiff conclusion that the only way out of this, quite literally, is a short squeeze. Like that's the ultimate outcome to all of this. Now, AMC stock, also consider, is still on the threshold securities list. It's been that way for like 2 weeks now, right? And you obviously know the implications of that. Now, if we take a look at the cost to borrow fees currently, Interactive Brokers still at 975% cost to borrow fees. Cost to borrow average, 841.28%. Cost to borrow maximum at 1,010%. Cost to borrow minimum at 51%. Now, at the same time, do keep this in mind, short sellers did not expect this trade to take so long. They were hoping to see this done and over with a long time ago. And that has obviously not happened. So on top of that, your cost of borrow fees are eating into all of the profits that these potential shorts might have right now. Now, if we take a look at the earnings picture, you have been getting a bunch of banks. You'll continue to get a bunch of banks tomorrow in pre-market. Tesla and Netflix tomorrow will be the big earnings. Depending on how those earnings are, it's going to have big implications for the rest of technology and your big tech names, which, dominate the broad markets as far as a market weighting. So those names will be very important next week. And what we get tomorrow and after hours, well, could give you some signs of what to expect for next week. So it looks like volatility is probably going to ramp up throughout the rest of the day today, probably tomorrow as well. Expect to see some bigger moves heading into earnings. Now, what we got today as far as economic data was retail sales month over month for June. Now, I was hoping this number would come in line with expectations, maybe a little bit better than expectations. The consensus was for a 0.5% increase month over month to retail sales. This number came in at 0.2%, worse than expectations, which is, not good. And you are seeing kind of this move into your Dow kind of stocks, a sellout of technology. I think that's the earnings situation, the fear potentially that's taking hold, whereas banks having decent earnings. Some people are opting to buy some of your regionals right today. So you're definitely seeing money move around today. If we take a look at the broad indexes, the Dow's up 1%. And the NASDAQ is negative 0.20%, whereas the Russell 2000 is up 1.14%. So some of your small cap stocks are actually seeing some pretty good moves, whereas your big tech names are actually selling off. I think this does have to do with the rebalancing of the NASDAQ as well. The NASDAQ is going to rebalance and basically have to sell stock, right, to get back to a different market weighting, to lower some of the market weighting of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, right, Tesla, some of these other names. So that could be a reason as well why these stocks are actually going down today. And some money's going into your small cap stocks today. Not a whole bunch, but some at least. That is helping AMC to be in the green today. AMC stock at the time of recording this video is up 0.5%. Now, the stock is following still this 8-day moving average, holding this as solid support. You've been trending upwards. This is good, But ultimately, none of this matters until we get the court ruling. Now, the RSI is pretty much at neutral. It's at 46.80, a little bit under that neutral level, but pretty much at neutral. The MACD is bullish in the short term, but the longer term hasn't been so bullish. You've been in negative territory for the MACD for a while now. You want to see that break into positive territory, but you're starting to get there. So signs look pretty good. You know, that the AMC is essentially doing pretty good and might continue to do pretty good. But ultimately, the court situation could come out tomorrow. It could come out next week. It could come out a month from now. Let me know what you guys think, when you guys think this is ultimately going to play out, and what kind of trades do you have on AMC currently? How are you looking to trade this court situation, guys? So that is going to do it for this video. That is everything you guys need to know. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.